Okay, so team, we will start today's session, the session number 3, where we have earlier covered few of the things like we have done earlier 2 classes and sessions, which is Java introduction, how to use Eclipse, getting started, how Java works, variable in Java, working with variables, primitive data types in Java, naming convention in Java was the first session. Then in the second session, we had these arithmetic operators in Java, if-else selection statements in Java, while for iteration statements and loops, nested loops, iteration statement, okay, break and continue statements, classes and objects, OOPS concepts introduction. There were a lot of discussion on that. There is the class constructors in Java, this keyword, how to use this keyword, method and constructor overloading. That is one of the concepts, very nice concepts of overloading, function overloading, method overloading, whatever you say, the constructor overloading as well. This gives a flair of polymorphism that we have discussed already. Today, we are going to start with the static keyword. Okay. Static. So we had a class, we had a concept of static. Why we have in our main method, we always have a word called static. We have explained in details about that. Let us not repeat that. You can get it from my second session video, audio video recording. Okay. Now let us start with static object and a class loader memory. Class loader memory we have already discussed in the previous class. What happens whenever a class is instantiated into an object, that is, a class comes into picture, comes into use. Otherwise, it's just a declaration. It doesn't come into the, once it is loaded into the memory, then only you have that object into existence. Otherwise, the object is not tangible. It remains intangible. Okay. Now, whenever the object is instantiated, the class or the object, it gets loaded into the class loader memory. There is one thing. Whenever you have completed the instantiation of the object and you start using the object will have the attributes which are variables like int, eid, int salary, static string, CU. Now these are going to be loaded, and there are methods, constructors, which are going to be loaded from the class loader memory into the heap memory. Once the object is available in the heap memory, then only the object can be used. Till that time, you will not be able to use or manipulate the data or the method, or you cannot use the setter and the getter methods of the class. Okay. But one thing is there, that there is a static declaration as well, like static variable. That static variable can be declared inside an object or inside a class. Like here, we have an employee EMP class. EMP class can hold lots of employees with their ID, with their salary, let's say. And say in an organization, how many CEOs can be there? In an organization, there can be only one CEO. So will you be able to, should you manipulate the use of CEO or change the CEO every now and then with each of the employee? One employee will have one CEO. So 100 employees of that organization will have the same CEO, right? When faced with such scenario, you should make the CEO, whatever, before you assign it, you have to declare or you have to use a modifier called static. And then you are making, because CEO is a name. So I am using CEO as a string. String is a type, data type. So what I am declaring CEO is the data, actual data. that I'm making that type of CEO as string, the return type as string, and the data type as sorry the data type as string, and the method, and not the method, and the modifier. Modifier is to define the type of the data as static. Once you make this, this makes CEO not object specific. That means the class has been loaded into class loader memory. Now, whenever you have instantiated the object and it is going to be used, the everything will be loaded into the heap memory. Everything will get loaded into heap memory when, can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So heap memory, the class will be whenever you instantiate the object with the constructor will do what it do. It will allocate a memory on the heap, in the heap. When constructor loads, my AL is not working sometimes, loads or allocates memory in heap for the object. We are no longer calling this as a class. Now the class has been constructed as an object, and that object will reside in the heap memory. But one thing will not go into the heap memory. Otherwise, that int EID, that is the employee ID, the employee salary, each of these are the attributes, and this show is a method. All these things will go into where? Will be loaded into the heap memory. Okay. But the CEO, that data doesn't go into the heap memory, because once it is there, any object is there on the heap memory with its attributes, like this, the primitive data or the data, and the methods, what happens is you will be able to change, you will be able to use those and change those attributes and methods, but you will not be able to change anything for the CEO, because the CEO is not available. The CEO data is not available on the heap memory. It is still residing in the class loader memory. You just have to remember this. That is the reason, if somebody asks you in an interview, why will a static variable not be available or not be able to be manipulated with the object? It can be changed, but it can be directly accessed. I mean, you cannot directly access it and change it whenever you are there in the heap class loader memory. We will see for an example here. Let's say we have declared static string. String is the data type CEO. If we want to create a static block for initializing a static variable, which can be initialized once, even if Rehan, you have a fair bit of knowledge. Neeraj also already has that. You have a fair bit of knowledge on Java, right?
Yes, sir.
Even if you don't have, don't worry, because yeah, tell me.
Yes, sir. I will catch up, sir, slowly.
Yeah. I'm sure you will catch up, and because you already have a bit of idea on this computing languages, and also that these videos and will be available with you. Like the first two videos will be available with you. It will be as we proceed. All these videos should be available with in the group that you are in. Okay. So you can go through that. But here, okay, just learning, that is understanding the concept is very important. Then to start immediately jump into and start writing code. You will not be able to go up after some level because your concept is not clear. So better we give a stress here in this learning session to clear out the concepts. Otherwise, you will get lots of programs available on the internet. But if you do it mechanically, somewhere you will get stuck. I'm very sure. And also, there is the hurdle of getting the interviews done. So the interviewer will be not asking you to write a code. Even if they ask you to write a code, it will be based on the concept. They will try to ask you to write a 1 or 2 lines of code highlighting one concept. That is what they will try to understand, whether you understand the concept. Okay, so we are writing, this is a static block. This is a block within the third bracket, with the curly braces, whatever you do is a block. Now you are naming the block as static. That block is a static block. The type of that block is a static block. If you do that, then this is the default. Whenever the object will be created, whether the CEO data is there in the class loader memory, but it is available for you to, by default it is available because you have defined it in a static block, which is, I do not have to define it again. I do not have to say static string CEO. Why? Because immediately if you do that, you have already declared the prototype of that data. That is, it is a static accessor with a static accessor and with a data type as string. So you cannot do it once again, because here illegal modifier for the variable CEO, only final is permitted. Now static is almost like a final. We will come to that final. But here the main essence is, since you have already declared the variable, you have to just use it. Once you do that, you do not have to need to declare it again. That was the mistake. Now this is called, we have discussed earlier that this is, what is this called? You know, Neeraj, you must be knowing. My class name is EMP. But what is this? This is a method, of course. This is a method, right? But at the same time, it is a special type of method. And this is called, if I had, okay, again, if I had like this public EMP and this one, okay. Oh, my AL is not working sometimes. See, public M, and there is public M. Now this public M is empty. What is this called? There are two M's. Sorry?
So we can write EMP in the case of empty, sir.
Sorry, just let me check. Dutinath, are you speaking,
yes,
Dutinath? Okay, Dutinath,
yes,
tell me.
Sir, can we write EMP in the case of empty?
No. I'm saying EMP is the employee. I'm giving a class a name. This class has a name called EMP. I could have given employee.
Okay, employee.
I'm giving a class name. Okay. Here, okay. My class name, I have given M. I have all the right, right? I have given a name. Like you have a name Duti. I have a name Devashish. We are objects after all, right?
Yes.
So my father, your father has given you a name, which is a class. And whenever you somebody calls you by name, you will be called by Duty, Dutinath. So that identifies Duti as a person, right? By your name. If somebody calls by the name Devashish, will you respond? No, you will not respond because you are not Devashish. Similarly, I have given a class an identity name. A name is EMP, and I always that naming convention is camel kissing rule. Class will always start with a capital letter. Okay, that we have already learned in the previous session.
Yes.
My question was, what is this method? We have discussed at length in the previous class. EMP, capital EMP, and you will find that these two are the same. Class name and this method name is same. Now the interviewer will ask you, what is this public? And you see, this doesn't have a return type. If I give a return type INT, or it is not returning anything, okay, view void, I still have an issue. This method has a constructor name. What it is saying that this is called a constructor. Boss, I have told you, no? The previous class we have discussed that this is a constructor. Without a constructor, you will not be able to instantiate a class to an object. Now, whether I declare, see, initially my code didn't have any, let's say I'm commenting it out. Okay, you know how to comment it out? See, let's say all this, the entire block, you want to comment it out. It's a feature of IDE, which is Eclipse. What you do, you highlight it using the mouse and then press the control and then press the slash key. Control and slash key, okay. Control plus slash key. Whenever you hold this entire block and say control slash key, it will be gone. That means you have uncommented. If you want to comment it, control and this thing. So 2 slashes will come, which is a comment in Java. Comment means you have written this, but you don't want the compiler to execute this code of lines, this lines of code. Okay. Now let's say I have commented it out. That means this public EMP, which is an empty constructor, doesn't happen in this class EMP, correct? But I'm finding another EMP. This is another constructor, but this constructor is somewhat different. It is not an empty constructor or the default constructor. Empty constructor is nothing but default. Any class will have a default constructor, and that constructor is an empty constructor. Or if you don't want to make an empty, you can put in something, whatever system, you can do that. But here I'm not putting in anything. In fact, I have commented out the entire constructor. So what will happen here? What will happen? Is this not a case of constructor overriding? Even if you did not have any default constructor, whenever you instantiate a class, by default, the default constructor will be executed, even if it is not there. But if you exclusively mention that you want to use the parameterized constructor, this is called a parameterized constructor. It is same constructor, but you are passing some parameter into it in the argument. You are passing int ID and int salary or sal. This you are putting it into this. Now, what is this blue colored one? This blue colored one are the instance variables. These are called, we have discussed all this, instance variables. you have to go through my second session very carefully, because we have started building up the concepts. So these are instance variables. Whenever you say this EID, here, do we need to mention this? Can anybody tell me? I am passing ID. I am not passing EID. If I had passed in EID, then this had a meaning. This had a meaning. But if because you know, how will the compiler understand which one is the argument which has been passed in the constructor and which one is the instance variable? To differentiate that, if you say now, you see there is the assignment to variable EID has no effect. Why? Because both are brown in color. You see EID equal to EID. Does it have any effect? Why both are brown? Brown means the local variable. EID is now the local variable. But local variable, I'm trying to assign it to the instance variable. To indicate that this is an instance variable, I will say this. Immediately the color will change to blue. This blue means this one, this instance variable. That means I'm trying to populate a value which I will pass through the main method or into this constructor EID, and that will populate the value of instance variable EID. That is a simple thing. I think you are fine with it. But once I say the name of the variable that I'm passing through parameter and the name of the instance variable is different, do I need to have this? You tell me. This salary and sal, will the compiler find any difficulty in understanding which one is sal and which one is salary? So it will immediately understand salary as the blue one, which is the instance variable, and that needs to be populated with a value which is a local variable, which is passed into the M constructor. That is this is a general programming concept. I do not need to make you understand. You already understand that, right? So fine. You do not need to use this as EID is not equal to ID. But I mean, the name of EID, the name of this variable is different from this variable. Okay. But my question was, whenever I say EMP is the default constructor, it is not there. So still, should I be able to use this EMP as a constructor? Will this EMP be called by default? Okay, let me come to that stage. I have another in this class. I have what are things in this class? I have two attributes, EID, salary as instance variables. I have a static variable CEO. I have put that CEO, I have initialized that value of, it becomes a sort of a constant. I have put in that, but still it's a static. Once I say static, mentioned in the static block, it means that I can use it. I mean, I'm a CEO. I am a CEO of 100 people. So each of the employee will not have a different CEO. It cannot be possible in an organization. So I'm keeping this as fixed, as final, or as constant. Okay. So this is happening. There is a default EMP, even if I declare it or not, even if I define it or not, doesn't matter. The default empty constructor will come into picture whenever we instantiate an object. Are you getting me? Please respond. Otherwise, I will not understand. No?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good. Now, what I do is another. This is a normal method. Do you see? It can return a type. It has a return type. If I do not mention this type, what will happen? Will it take? Because show, and it could have taken if my class was show. If my class name was show.
But then it would be an constructor.
Yes, very good. But it is not a constructor. This is normal method. What I'm mentioning is I'm trying to say any normal method cannot start with a capital letter like class. But since this is also a method, but it's mainly a constructor method, we have to have the same as the class name. That's why it is starting with a capital letter. But any method, any normal method will start with a small letter. You know that camel kissing rule. So here now we are using those concepts that we have learned already. Here, I cannot have a normal method without returning a type. Now that void means nothing, nothing. I'm returning nothing. I'm returning nothing. So that void is, though it is returning nothing, but actually we have to mention something which needs to return. So we are mentioning for safety that it is, though it is returning nothing, but we have to mention something. So void is that something, correct? And I'm saying that I'm printing that system.out.println is the way I display on the terminal value. I will show that. Name, now this name, what is this name? The name that I'm passing in the method show. This is the name that I'm passing from the main method. And the type of that name, variable, or the argument, or the parameter that I'm passing in the method show is type is string. This is the name of a person. But this I cannot include within double quotes. Why can anybody tell me? Because if I say name, then on the display terminal, I will exactly get the name, N-A-M-E. But I'm not getting the value like, let's say I'm passing Devashish. I will not print out Devashish because I'm using a constant here. It's a string. It's a constant value. I need to mention the variable, that this variable is nothing but this variable. The variable that I passed into that show method. Here, plus means I'm concatenating. I'm concatenating strings. So this colon space is a string. So I'm including within double quotes. Plus EID. Again, this one is a variable. Now this EID is the instance variable that I have populated with a value of the parameterized constructor ID. Correct? Now, plus another, that means I'm joining, I'm concatenating. This is a very important term. You might know, you have to know whenever you are doing some string manipulation or string joining. Concatenation or joining of strings, right? Concatenation, sorry. Concatenation or joining of strings. Now, this is just to display that whatever we have done till now works or not. Now, I have declared, I'm actually trying to get an entry point to execute this. Now, everything is an object. Everything is an object. So I'm declaring this class because I'm going to execute this static demo through the main method. I have to do some method, which is an entry point. The previous day, we have discussed why we state all these things. This is an entry point. So this main method is static, as this method is not required to be called from any object. I am not creating it. It is itself the creator of its own. It doesn't know. That's why we are using static. We are trying to learn static. Here we have used static. So we will display why within directly we can refer this without. See, even this CEO is not in the heap, but still we can use this CEO. We can directly call this static block, the static CEO variable, because this static, whenever we define something as static, we do not need an object through which we need to use it. It can be called without using any object. Okay. I do not. Okay. Now, let's come to this. We are declaring a class. static demo, within which I have a main method, because now I want to create a class static demo through which I would like to execute and use these classes. That is the basic concept of programming in Java or any object-oriented programming. Now, what is happening within this block? This is where we start with any function or any method will start with a curly braces, end with a curly braces. So this is the entire block of main method. Okay. Now here, tell me what is this? This is a type. This is typing. This is a class. Often you will see in books or in wherever reference documents you refer, they will not mention class. They will say type. Type and class is the same. That means you are using a type EMP, which is a class. You have defined this class. It's a user-defined class. There are many classes or many types available within the system or within the Java library, which are defined by Java. You have not defined, like your, so many classes will be there. We will come to that. And each of those classes will have inbuilt methods like this system. System is a class. System is a class. Defined. Did you define it? No, you have not defined. This class has been inbuilt into Java library. This class has a method called out. And out has a sub-method called println. Which is going to a method which is going to help you to display something on the terminal, output terminal. Now, similarly, M. Now, what is this? What is this? Is this like anything we declare? Anything we declare? Whenever we say integer, why I'm thinking I could have said int. Okay, let me say int. Int I equal to 10. What does that mean? That means this int is a type of data. When we have this, and I is the variable name. So can I say that this is the type of the data and the data is, or the variable is Samir? Can we say that? I've given a meaningful name because let's say employee Samir. I'm defining Samir. Samir can be anything. Samir can be a rasgulla as well, a sweetmeat, or a pencil, or a pen. But I'm defining Samir is not exactly a pen or a pencil. Samir is an employee who has these attributes, who has this static block, who has this constructor, which is a parameterized constructor, and who has a method. So this will define Samir. Samir will be a bit different because Samir is not a pen or a pencil, because Samir is an employee having these characteristics. This is called reference. This EMP is called a type or a reference of the class EMP. Are you getting me? And with this beautiful word, reserved word called new, you cannot use new as a variable. Remember, these are reserved words. Now, this new has a function of its own. New is a clause which helps to initiate or instantiate a class. Now, this new EMP, now you are calling a constructor. Why I have given a constructor? Because that is the convention. You cannot instantiate a class. You cannot create an object from a class if you do not use a constructor. And the constructor, that's why you have the constructor and the class of the same name. Here, I am not using a default constructor. Are you understanding? If I had used a default constructor, I would have given what? I would have given just empty brackets and said semicolon. And I would have commented this. Now, this is also fine. Okay. This is also fine. But here there is a problem because I have not specifically defined anything called EMP. Okay. See, constructor EMP, see, it is still the compiler is saying it is understands that EMP, whatever I have mentioned as method or a constructor is undefined because I have not defined it. Now, are you getting me? So this is a parameterized constructor that I'm calling. Are you getting me? So individual objects are created in a class loader memory once the class loads. Now, tell me, the class has been loaded. Yes?
Sir, what is the difference between class loader memory and heap memory?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
The difference between class loader memory and heap memory.
That is what I tried to explain in the beginning. That see, we were discussing that whenever you instantiate a class called EMP. Okay, instantiate means you are using a term called a reserved word called new. This is a method. This is the way that you declare or you instantiate a class. That means now the class will come into picture. That means you are no longer in the definition level. You are actually in the object level. Object level, that means unless you create the object, you cannot be using the class. You cannot be able to use the class. You have defined a class. What is the purpose? Because you want to use the class, isn't it? But you cannot use a class. The class is there. Once you define it, the class will be there in the class loader memory. Once you define it, there is a section of memory which is reserved once ever you have defined this M class, this entire block. This entire block is the class till this much. This is the ending parameter, ending bracket for this class. So this is the entire block of the class. Class is defined. EMP is defined. Now, when you do that, the compiler immediately loads that class into the. See, it can happen that you have only compiled it. It can happen that you have only compiled it, but you are not running it. Whenever you save it, because you have a JVM, it is compiling. If there was something wrong, immediately it will give that there is some issue. There will be some cross sign coming up. So that means your class has been defined. EMP has been defined. Now, definition means it has to load it somewhere. It has to keep that definition somewhere, right? Like your name is Rehan, but your name will not be used, or your father will not name you Rehan unless you are born. Okay, so that whenever you are born, let's say that class is born. The class you have born, when you have defined the class EMP. That means the class has born, has taken birth. Immediately, the compiler will put the class in the class loader memory. That means it will allocate a memory in the class loader memory. It is called a class loader memory. It's memory after all. It's in the RAM of the computer. In the RAM, it allocates and names that section of the memory as the class loader memories. That means whenever any number of classes, like here in this code, how many classes are there? EMP. This is also a class, static demo. This is a runtime class. It will be defined and loaded, created during runtime. This is the runtime class. That means what happens is it will only run, it will only be taking a shape, and it will be first time, it will define and everything, and it will be load into class loader memory and whenever there is a runtime, you are running it. Actually, when you are say you are running it, you say run as Java application. Whenever you are running it, only at that time, it will be picked up from the class loader memory and created. Though did I create a static demo, some variable name equal to new static demo? Did I do that? It is also
No.
a class,
Okay.
right?
Yes, sir.
But to your surprise, you will find that someone has created this class. This class is an object now, and from that is the mother object from where you are operating. You are running the other classes. It is the main container. You can say a container. This container class will contain the other classes. But again, this container class is also a class. It needs to be loaded and then from the class loader into the heap memory, So whenever a class is instantiated with a new, an object called Samir is created. An object called Samir is created. Now Samir is available where? Samir with all the variables like EID, salary, CEO, not CEO, method, show, everything will be there in the heap memory. This is very important to understand. Sometimes, many times you will get a heap memory leakage. It's a memory code dump. You cannot make a dump or you cannot leak anything from the class loader memory because class memory doesn't have anything other than the static values, static methods or static variables. There are like the static variable, as well. We'll come to that. Here we are dealing with static variables. Static variable, even if the class has been instantiated into an object called Samir. Samir is now an object. He's a person. He's an employee. Samir now resides in where? In the heap memory. He is no longer there. Samir is no longer in the class loader memory because Samir was there in the class. In the class of 100 students, Samir was one of the students, but the teacher called him. That means called Samir by name. So the Samir now is an object because teacher is pointing, is a pointer. Teacher is a pointer pointing to a particular section of the memory, which is held by an object called Samir. Now that memory is in the heap memory. Are you getting me? I'm trying to give some examples from the real life such that you can relate. Object is like a human being.
So, sir, whenever we create an object of a class, then
Yes.
that object is present in the heap memory.
Yes. Very good. So that time, at that point of time, which is the definition area, which is the class loader memory, the compilation has put in the definition in the class loader memory. Because from that class loader memory, whenever the object is instantiated, the compiler knows that actually the program is hinting or pointing to use the object called Samir. So I need to take the definition of employee of type employee. I have to put it into the heap memory. Unless that is that I cannot use in the runtime. Only one thing I can use in from the class loader memory is the static variables and methods. A static method like static variable like CO does not load into heap memory. There is a purpose for that. That's why you are defining static. Because you are defining CEO. We will come to know. Now, is this part clear to all of you? Because all of you already are using Java, so I'm sure you will know that. Now, why I am doing this parameterized construction? Constructor. I'm trying to not use default. I am trying to use parameterized because I wanted to my sole purpose that I want to pass into the constructor with a value of 8 and 4,000. 8 is the EID, and the ID, that employee ID, and 4,000 is the salary that employee Samir will draw. Like, I am using this definition of EMP, which is a constructor method. Fine, but it's a constructor. It will not return anything. I cannot give any return type, but still it's a method. It's a method called constructor, special type of a method. Here I'm passing INT. INT means the type of the variable ID and type of the variable sal. See, here I'm passing 8. 8 is the INT, just one-to-one mapping. You map it, ID 8. So ID equal to 8, it becomes, I'm passing 8. And salary, what I'm passing? First variable, first instance of Samir, 4,000. Okay. Are you getting me? So I'm passing, and so what will be ID here? I'm actually storing 8 and salary as 4,000. Is it clear? So EID is 8, salary is 4,000. Just remember this. I will just take it out right now because I'm going to execute the program. I cannot do that. I can do that, but it is not needed here. Because my thing I can use another object with a different ID and a salary. That is what I'm doing in the second one. I have two objects now. I have two objects. One object is Samir, which is now in the heap memory called Samir. The name is Samir. And another memory name in the heap memory is Rahul, because I have instantiated another employee with the same employee type. That means Rahul also will have a Rahul ID and a salary, and Rahul will also have a CEO. Okay, he will have a CEO as well as so all these things are there. After all this, but I am not passing in CEO. You see, I am passing in what? 8 and 9 as salary, as employee IDs for Samir and Rahul, and 4,000 and 5,000 for salaries of Samir and Rahul respectively. Now let's execute this. Now what I'm doing is I have commented out all these things. I will see what we will do. Just a simple program. In our entire sessions, we will not take complicated examples. We will take simple, because I always give importance to the concept. If your concept is clear, you can gradually complicate, or you can write complicated programs. But if your concept is not clear, even very, very simple program, you will not be able to write. You will get stuck in the interview level. You will not be able to expose yourself for a bigger organization to work on a complicated or on a complex programs. So if I cannot do simple things, I cannot be doing complex things. Very simple like that. So let us take very simple examples. Let us run this. Now, what is this? What is this? Now, Samir is an object. An object means it will have the liberty. You will have the liberty to use something like any object like Samir is an object. I say dot. Whenever you say dot, that means I want to use whatever the properties and methods defined within the object Samir, and as well as there is every object is derived from the super object. You know what is a super object? Super object. That is O object. Now this is a super object in Java. If you say dot, you see it is a class which is derived from java.lang.object. Now this object You see, now I have exposed so many methods which is defined under any class. You are getting me? See, as subclass, cast, desired, equals, these are all methods. You will come to learn to use how to use equals and all those stuff. But what my main concern is to let you know that there is a super object. Super object will have all the definitions of all the methods, okay, that you are going to use by default. So whenever you see now this Samir, do you think it's a super object? No, it is our user defined object. We have defined it. We have defined with some variables. Variables are instance variables like EID, salary. Okay, these are the general methods associated with any object. And you will see a CEO. CEO is a static. You see at the very end, it is not coming with the instance variables because it has some other purpose. And also there is, can anybody tell me what is another method which is not available with general classes? It is available with Samir only. Samir object. Like EID attribute, salary attribute, and CEO. You already know. We already know, right? These are the attributes. It is available with the object Samir. What else? What else? Now, for everyone else, whenever you, this is a context sensitive help. Like whenever you place dot, all the aligned or assigned methods and attributes of that object will come into your. This is a helper context. It will come to your help because you might not know or remember. You do not need to remember all the methods, all the variables that has been declared within that class or object. It will come into your picture. So anybody can tell me what was the other method? Equals is not we have defined. It is already defined.
Show.
Any object. Show. Very good. Who told me?
Orko, sir.
Orko is, of course, you know that. See, why show? So show we have defined here, right? So whenever you have instantiated a class, the show method has also now is available in the heap memory. So you will be able to use it. That's why we are using first method, first object, show, and what I'm passing, like you try to see the method show. We have a parameter, one single attribute or one parameter we are passing into the show argument. Isn't it? We have passed in the name of the object. So the name of the object or the name of the employee is Samir. I am passing within show. And what is the purpose of show? What the method does? It just simply outputs something on the terminal. That something is defined by name, colon, EID, pipe, salary, pipe, and all the stuff. Now let's run it. Can I run it? I will just run it. Or you can just go here. Either you can use right click and then run as, you can go to say Java application, or you can directly go here and say run static demo. Now just see what is the output. This output, Samir, whenever you have already made this Samir as an object, you have made this Samir object. From that object, you are trying to use that show method. What does that show method do? Show method prints out the name. So I have displayed the name because I have passed in the name Samir as an argument, correct? Then I'm printing this colon. Isn't it true? Because I've concatenated. So the colon comes. Now what is the value? Plus means joining. EID. So it is in m.eid. You see, I have not mentioned m because it is part of that object, emp type. So EID. EID, what is the value that I have passed? See, you have passed EID as for Samir. The EID is 8, isn't it? Do you agree? you definitely agree. Then you put a pipe. That pipe has come. You agree? Then I am printing in the salary. Salary is a variable. Salary, who has passed in the salary? I have passed in the salary because this is my object. I have passed in employee ID and the salary. So the salary, see this salary 4,000 displayed. Now, did I mention anywhere the value of CEO? Did here only I have put it after the pipe, I have said plus CEO. Did I mention anywhere CEO? I have mentioned, I mean, I have gone to show, I have said CEO. But since this class has been called into the memory called heap memory, and that a pointer points to the class memory where it finds only a CEO. So whenever you reference CEO, it goes to the static block and it picks up. You agree? Because after all, this is the object Samir, which is of type EMP. So EMP has a static block defined with a value of variable CEO with a value Sunit Chaudhary, CEO of PCS Global. So what it is printing? Sumit Chaudhary, CEO of PCS Global. Okay. Now, what about Rahul? Rahul, I have passed in 9 employee ID. So now it is very obvious. You can see the magic here. But did the value of CEO change? That is the beauty, because Rahul and Samir working in the same organization cannot have different CEOs. Suppose when you are working for PCS Global, you will not be having any other CEO other than PCS Global. But say tomorrow, Sunit Chaudhary has been replaced by, say, somebody else. Or Sumit Chaudhary has left. Now a new CEO has joined. Will you go and change the static variable? Is it needed? Let's see. Now, I am going to make Samir CEO Mahesh, some Mahesh. Okay? And Rahul CEO as Nilesh or Nimesh. Mahesh and Nimesh. Can I do that? Yes, of course. Can I do that? Are you sure?
Sir, CEO is static.
Yes, of course I can do that. Now you see the magic. Here you have already defined for that object, which is the type M. Already CEO has been defined as Mahesh. Okay. Now, second time, for Rahul, you wanted to assign some other CEO. You see the error. Okay, sorry. Now the static field, what it is giving, it's giving a warning. You can always do that, but you can stop it. You can have, that is illogical. Here, during the compilation, it is giving the static field, EMP CEO should be accessed in a static way. That means in a constant way. In a static means a constant. In a uniform way. I cannot have Samir CEO. I can have. Technically, it's possible. But logically, it should not. That's why there is a warning. That's why it's a warning. Okay? But we can run it. What is happening? You have assigned Samir CEO as Mahesh. What is happening? Samir CEO becomes Nimesh and Rahul CEO becomes Nimesh as well. You agree? What is happening here? What is the use of static? Because my purpose, my objective was to make CEO as constant. Even if you don't have Sunit Chaudhary as the CEO. Okay. Because I am not using anywhere CEO. But first time I have used CEO for all the few of the objects. Samir CEO, I mentioned Mahesh. But Samir CEO, I'm seeing it is displaying Nimesh. Are you getting me? What is the use of object? Use of static variable? This is the beauty of static variable. That in an organization, I cannot have because my purpose was to define CEO once. Yes, Sumit is no longer there. Just for, so somewhere I have mentioned CEO Nimesh. But somewhere else also I have mentioned Mahesh. But compiler is smart enough to pick up only the last value, the last assigned value. That means this is the latest change, latest version, you can say. Latest version of CEO. Because now if I, again, now what do you think? Now what do you think? If I run the program, what do you think will be the value of CEO for Rahul and Sunil? Will it be Mahesh, will it be Nimesh, or will it be Devashish?
Devashish.
Okay, let's find it. That is. Now, this is now a beauty. You see, you have object and you have CEO, which is static. But this is the type, this is the class. Once CEO is static, it is independent of the object, hence EMP class can directly be mentioned, correct?
So we
Because
can change the
static,
CEO anytime we want, like since it is static.
Since
So
it is
how
static,
can we make it constant? Like it should not change anywhere in the class. It should always be constant.
That is what I'm trying to, that is what, oh, that is different thing. That is final thing. We will come to that final answer. Final is a constant. It's a constant of capital letters. Okay, now we will come to that. But here I'm trying to explain the use of static. Why sometimes we will need to use a static in an object. Because my purpose is, anytime I can have only one CEO for a company, which is sort of a constant. But CEO is also a human being. A human being will be replaced. So somewhere in the code, I will just mention that CEO with the latest version or the latest name. We will come to that static. We will see how we will not be able to change the version number whenever you use that portion. Also, we will come to. Then we will see the difference. But here, when I run this, what will be the final object? What will be the CEO for Samir and Rahul? Will it be Mahesh? Will it be Nimesh? Will it be Devashish? Or will it be Devashish Pal? And here also the purpose is to just show you that I can refer the static variable directly through emp. Now, emp is not an object. Emp is just a reference. Samir is an object. Rahul is an object. Is emp an object? No. Emp is an employee. A type, which is a class, which is a reference. But since CEO is a static, so I do not need to refer CEO through an object only. I can directly reference it through the class. For that,
I can directly reference it and can change it also.
Yeah, change it. You can change it. You can. It's not a constant, so to say. It is not a constant. Like you cannot never do it. You are not using a final statement, final keyword or modifier. So here, it is just a static modifier. It can be used only once. My objective of this lesson is to understand that CEO can be referenced through a reference object, a reference. It might not be referenced only through an object. That is the beauty of CEO. Static variable. Here I am using this thing. But yes, of course, I cannot mention, can I mention CEO like this? No, because it doesn't have any source. Where are you referencing this from? So it has to have some reference or an object like this. Samir is an object. Rahul is an object. EMP is a reference only. It's a pointer to an object. Pointer. If you are aware of C, you know the term pointer. Pointer is the memory allocation of a variable or a function or anything which exists on the memory. You are just pointing. It's a memory addressing of the object. Object is a physical object, right? It happens on the memory. This is an address. It's a reference. So you are referencing this static variable with this. Now tell me, when I run it, what will be the value of CEO for Samir and Rahul? It will not be Mahesh. It will not be Nimesh. It will not be Devashish. It will be Devashish Pal. Let's see. So this is called a latest version. So latest version of CEO will have a value of this one. Because this is overwritten. First, Mahesh is overwritten by Nimesh. Then Nimesh is overwritten by Devashish. And then Devashish Pal overwrites Devashish. So only one existence of CEO. There is only one occurrence of an organization CEO. That is the beauty. Okay, got it? Let us move into the next topic. Any questions, please ask. Don't say this thing. Inner class. Now it's a very important concept, inner class. Inner class is also called member class. It can be a static class as well. As I said, static can be a variable. Static can be a method. Static can also be a class. We'll know that. And an inner class can also be an anonymous class can also be an inner class. So inner class can be three types. One is the member class. Like I have an outer class, and within that outer class, I have an inner class. Simply a class. That this class, inner class, will not exist without the outer class. Oh, okay. One thing I would like to tell you. Now, you are mentioning this program says Java, .java. And you are compiling it into a class, and this class is now then used to execute the program if it has an entry point. Now we have an entry point with any of these classes with main method. Fine. But these classes are also files with a class name as outer.class. If I say outer, where are these being stored? I'm storing this this inner class. Like, let's say where I have stored this. How will you know? Where did I physically store this Java code, source code? How to see that? I will say that I will like to, I have right click on inner class demo, right? I have right clicked on inner class demo. I have said show in local terminal, and then I have selected terminal. I will come to this portion. Yeah. So this inner class demo.java resides where? Now in the physically in D drive under Devashish, under GBS, under Java AC training, under source SRC. Now you see SRC. SRC is nothing but the same place where you have, this is the location of SRC, physically onto the local drive. So that This is the place of Java, your inner class.java, inner class demo.java. Where is the class file? I have created outer class, and within that outer class, there is inner class. And there is also inner class demo. This is also a class. But main is not a class. Main doesn't have any existence. Main is a method called from this inner class demo. Okay. You are creating this inner class. You are creating this outer class. So there must be somewhere it is stored, but I'm not seeing anywhere this class is stored. I'm not seeing anywhere. Let us go to this directory. Okay. Let us go to this directory. Where? Here. Let's see. Now, I am in Java SE training. So are they the same? I'm copying it. I'm pasting it. So are these the same? Right? I'm under D:Devashish GBS Java SE training. No doubt about it. I'm here. And under this, I will also see a directory called SRC. And you are seeing so many, these are all Java files, all Java files, right? In the default package, we will come to know what is, now this is also a package. This is also a package. This is also a package. Okay, now I will come to that. We will come to know about this thing. But here, SRC, and I have not defined any package. So this is a default package actually. Under default package, under SRC default package, you have all these Java files. Like which Java file we are in? We are in inner class demo Java. So there must be inner class demo Java. Inner. Let's see. Can I get a yes? I'm getting D:Devashish GBS Java SC training. Under SRC, there is a class called inner class demo, right? You agree? Inner class demo, inner class demo, inner class demo, inner class demo. Yes, this one. This is a Java file. Now, this is a Java, like inner class, inner class demo.java. And we are seeing this is a text file. After all, it's a text file. We are seeing the code. What about the class? Where it is? Can anybody tell me? Here it is, in the bin. In the bin, you try to find out inner class. A very important thing comes out. A very important thing comes out. You are seeing inner class demo.class, because after all, that inner class demo.java will be converted to inner class demo.class, right? Now, what about this? You see, I have an outer, capital O, outer class, then $, capital inner class. Now, this is the class. Will you have outer only? Yes, I will. What does that dollar signify? The dollar signifies that inner.class is actually an inner class of which is called from an outer class, which is outer.class. So there must be some outer.class as well. Yes. This is the main class, outer.class. And outer.class is also referenced through inner class. Outer, inner class. Is that concept clear? So in the bin, I am having all the classes because anyway, Java has to store all these things somewhere. And this is somewhere. So whenever you are saying class outer and you in this class outer is the entire class, this entire class. But you will find that I have defined another class called inner within the outer class, and that block is this one. So something I'm doing within the inner class, but I can access that something from the inner class only from an outer class. Very interesting concept. You need to know that in the outer class, I have defined int a, which is variable of primitive type integer, int. Public void show, this is a normal class and a normal method, and it is not a constructor, because if it was a constructor, then it would have been without this void and just with the same name as outer. Okay. But this is a normal class, a normal method, and I'm doing printing inside the outer class show. Now this is the entire thing done within the class, and what another class within that outer class is. This is a normal class. Normal class. And there is another called static class inner that we will come. Now, within this normal class, I have one method only. One method. There is no instance variables of that inner class. Just one method, which is saying inside the inner class display. Now, I'm coming to this. When I was showing this, this thing, you must have also come to an inner class demo class as well as .java. Right. So this will also be this will be created during the runtime, but on in the same bin directory. Now, I say I am creating this outer. Outer is the reference of this outer class object, and I'm saying new outer. So I'm creating an object called obj, which has a reference of outer class. So when I say object obj.show, which one will be called? Obviously this one, because this show is a method within outer to be called. So there's no doubt. So what I will print? I will print inside the outer class show. Now come to this one. Now I want to use the display. Now, if I cannot instantiate this inner class, I will not be able to access this display method. That is for the security, I have to instantiate the object. Okay, then only I can use the display method. Now, to do that, but the main problem is that inner is a class within the outer. So I have to refer outer. Outer has an inner class. So the reference is outer.inner. This is the reference. This is called the reference. But I cannot only say outer, because inner is, this display method is not part of outer. Yes, indirectly it's part of outer, but actually exclusively it is a part of inner. So if I have to access display method, I have to use display method. I have to reference inner, and inner can be referenced through outer. Then only, see, this object obj is now an object of outer. Through that, I am saying this object.new inner. Inner is a constructor. Now here inner, in the constructor, I have not defined any constructor. So what is the constructor here? Inner is a constructor, but that is called a default constructor. I may not declare it, define it. It will be executed. It's an empty constructor, but that is absolutely necessary if you wanted to instantiate the object obj1, which is nothing but the object of inner class. But I cannot do like this. I cannot do like this. Like, you know, I will call inner. Let's say obj2, just any name equal to inner. So I will say new inner, as usual, as we know, right? Now you see the compiler is giving some error. Why? Because inner doesn't have its existence solely. It is not a class by its own. Inner cannot be resolved to a type. You understand that? It cannot be a type unless you instantiate this object to through outer class. Are you getting me or getting confused? Is the concept clear, or just let me know?
Please show it once more.
Okay, surely. My question was, sorry, let me bring that back. Yeah. What I'm trying to do, by generally, if I have to instantiate an object like the outer one, it's very simple because outer is the main object or the main class. So I will say outer class reference object obj. You can give it any name. I have given a name obj. Now I will say new. New means I am trying to instantiate that object. Without that new word, I cannot do that. And new calls the outer constructor. Now here I have not defined any constructor called outer. The constructor name and the class name has to be the same. That is, we have followed that convention. It's an empty constructor, which is a default constructor, and it is not a parameterized constructor. So I'm just creating the object obj. That part is clear, right? And because I have created this object, I can now use the object. Now, because the object is in the heap memory, I can use all the attributes and methods of that object. And one method in that object is show. In that class is show. Okay. Now the class is now an object, so I can use that show. And the show says inside the outer class show. Fine. No issue. Now I'm trying to use access display method. I want to invoke display method. What do? I say inner objective equal to new inner as usual, like this one. But here I cannot do that because inner is an embedded class within the outer class. So to access this inner, because of the security issues, I need to display something confidential. That's why I have embedded that inner object, inner class within some outer object. So somebody hacking into my system, if it can hack out the outer one, still it has a problem in accessing the confidential data to be displayed. This is an example. That's why I'm just given nothing, just to show that when you use inner, just to hide something within the outer class, within embedded within some other class. But by defining this way, I will not be able to create this object too or anything, because this is not an independent class. This class is embedded within the outer class. That's why I have given a meaningful name, outer and inner. You can give any name, doesn't matter. To instantiate this object, I have to go through that reference of outer. And already I have used this object. I have to use this through inner, through this object, obj. That object 1 will be instantiated through an obj with an object which is an object of outer class. I cannot do it directly by using this. Yeah, did you get me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You have to be very clear about that. You can never do that because this is a security policy. Due to security, I cannot create that object directly like this. But I can do it like this. Outer dot inner. That means this is a reference point. I am trying to reference the inner class. How do I do it? Through the outer class. So the class reference is outer dot inner. Very interesting. And I am giving an object name obj1 equal to, now I am trying to instantiate that object inner. So I am using obj of outer object, outer class, dot new. New is that through new you are calling that inner constructor, default constructor. That way, you are observing the convention, you are maintaining that convention, but at the same time, you are able to create the inner object, an object by the name obj1. Now you see, I can use that obj1 to display, to call the method display. See, I am now being able to. Now let's run this. Only then you will understand this. Now, first, let's go here. I have created this object. This object has been instantiated obj. Obj.show goes here and prints inside the outer class show. Inside the outer class show, right? So no issues. Now I have done through the outer and inner reference and obj1, which is an object through object instantiation of new through the object which is outer object, and referencing and instantiating that object inner, and this is the object, and through that object of obj1, I am being able to access the display method. So the inside the inner class display is the output. Now one thing, what happens? I can make that class inner as static class as well. Why do I need to do the static class inner? Static, I define class inner as static. Can you tell me? What is the need? If I use like this. This is an example of static class inner, a static class. We have seen static variable. A static variable can directly be referenced through the reference. We do not need to create an object for that. Now here, this definition is a bit, I might get confused and I might not understand clearly. It's a bit difficult one. Okay. If I use static, what happens is I will not need an object reference. See how it is. I will just remark this out and I will just invoke this, make use of this. Now my definition becomes more simpler. You see, since I know if I mention the class inner as static, I do not have to go a roundabout method or roundabout way to access this display method. My intention is to access the inner class display method. For that, if I need to instantiate the inner class, I do not need to go through the object of outer class. I might have, suppose I was not using, there was no method here. Okay, I was not, I have no intention of using outer. Outer hosts the inner. I will not use any method of this. So I might not, okay, I will come to that. Let's see what is the definition. Let it be here. Outer dot inner. That reference has to be done through a sequence because inner is a reference from the outer. So you have to mention outer dot inner. That is clear. An object name. And here you are simply giving the way we are doing this one. We have come back to the normal way of defining or instantiating an object. New outer dot inner and inner constructor. This is an inner constructor, right? By doing that, did you use like here, you have used obj of this thing. It might happen that first of all, let me run this. Is it clear? Is this definition more simpler than this? I might not.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I might not use the obj because obj here I can remark it out because I have not used it. Let's say first of all run it without changing anything else. Within one example, I'm trying to cover lots of things, lots of concepts. So we may apparently go a bit slower, but it is covering a lot of things. If you, end of the day, you will understand. See, now this helps me. to access the inner class display. See, I have gone to use the display method. What happens if I remark this out? Will this program still work? Will this program still work? My purpose is just to access the inner objects display method. Will this work?
Yes, sir.
Yes, this will work because I have taken the dependency of this object from this object. Though it is an inner class, though this is an inner object, which is, I just am referring the outer object as a reference point. That's all. But I am not using the object because why? If I do not use do not need to use the object of outer, I do not block the memory by unnecessarily creating an object, because after all, object is picking up the heap memory usage. If I do not need to use it, why should I create the object? So I did not create the outer object, but that will not prevent me to use the inner class, the method display without outer class. I just have to refer the outer class, outer reference. That's all. I think it should work. You see that it has displayed, it has used the display function, right? So this was a dependency was there. Here there is no dependency. So it has clarified because why it was possible, because I have used static. That is the usefulness of a static class. There are many situations in your programming life whenever you will face with this sort of requirements. Then you will remember that, yes, we have learned that we can use a class in this way without using the object of the outer class or some other object. I can use just the reference of it because it belongs to that class. It may happen that you need only to, in many of the banking software, these are often important concepts. So once you understand this, your entire concept of static class is clear. Okay. We will also know what is anonymous class. We will discuss about. We have discussed the member class, which is the inner class. We have discussed how do you use the static class. Okay. Anonymous class is a very important class, and you know this version from onwards 1.8 version, Java version 1.8. That is a revolutionized one use, which is why Java is still very prominent and being used so widely. So many Scala and so many other languages have come in with lots of usage, fast usage, because for Java, you need to know a lot of object concepts. But here, Scala and everywhere and a few other languages, they are using Lambda functions. Okay. Lambda functions makes use of methods, the use of methods or coding part quite simple and quite it is maintainable. You don't have to write lengthy code. Using Lambda functions, you can write a lot of important things. So this anonymous class concept will help you clear that part. So once you understand how to use the Lambda functions, Lambda classes, Lambda functions, basically, you would be Lambda methods. You would be you are going to the depth of Java. But unless you know the static classes, member classes, anonymous class, you will not be able to use the Lambda functions. Because of Lambda and few other things which have been introduced post Java version 1.8, thereafter the popularity of it, and there are so many new framework has been ported into Java, especially your Spring framework and everything, because of these few modifications or inclusions of the features which Java desperately lacked before version 1.0. So is this clear? Why you will be using a reference and not using an exclusive object from an outer class that will help you because you have used a static one.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, what if the outer class were declared as static?
Outer class?
Sir, what if the outer class were declared as static? Then also we won't need a reference class outer. Sir, what if we declare
you
that
will
as
say,
static?
if you say static
Yes, sir.
static outer class, yeah, you can declare that.
We
You
would
can declare
not
that.
need to create an OBJ object of the outer class.
No, you can. I have commented it. Now, what is happening is, you see, once you are within that, this is the controlling class. Okay. So it's an illegal modifier for the class. What else you can do only is for the outer class, which is outer means it's just a name. But if it is a main class, then only you can use public, abstract, and final are permitted. So if you use instead of, because static is also sort of a final, but for the main class, you cannot use static. Because here the static can be used for a method which is main. Because here you do not need any object instantiation for main method to access the main method. But here, if you say the class itself, the main class itself is static, okay, then it is not possible to, okay, let me see if you can, I have made this entire thing as, I've taken out the inner class, fine. I have taken out this inner class reference as well. And then I say static. Will it help? No. Still, because it is one single class, which is the main class, this is an illegal modifier, it says. That only public, abstract, and final are permitted. There is an abstract class. We have not taken any concept of abstract thing. There is an abstract class. It is fine. But for an abstract, you cannot, again, there is a problem of, you cannot instantiate an abstract class. Like an interface. We will come to interface. But interface and abstract, you cannot have any object. You cannot create an object out of an abstract class or an interface class. You have to do a roundabout method. But your concept was right. We have never tried using a static class with the one single class only. Only a static class can be tried if it is an inner class. Because there you do not have any, you still are referencing the outer class with a reference pointer, like here. So, but if your outer class is a static class, you will not be in a position to refer it as well, because you cannot create or you cannot instantiate an object from an static class. From an abstract class, I mean. So here you either use a public Okay, public is also not being able to use. The public type outer must be defined in its own file. Okay, I'm changing the name. Somehow this public, Arko, will you be able to tell me why is public class not being taken?
Sir, to use public class, we need to declare it in another file, I think.
Another?
In another file.
Within another class.
No, in another Java file. There is already one class here.
But I have given outer one. Still it is not being taken. Or let's say outer two.
No, sir, it is not taking the access. Name. It is. It need to be public type. Sir, it was giving some error. The public type something.
Yeah, public type must be defined in its own file.
That's what I am saying. It's need to be defined in a different Java file. There cannot be two public classes in one Java file.
Okay. Yeah. Inner class demo is one public class.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. So that's very good. Thank you. So what is happening here is, Rehan, we cannot have this outer. Is this one? Rehan, here, since we can only have one public class within one file, so that public class is the one which will be created during the runtime. But here, these are the supporting classes or the helper classes through which we are accessing the other functionalities of this inner class demo or from the main method. Okay, so there can be n number of classes, but only one public class that is actually exposed. This is actually exposed to the other domain. That's why it is called public class, where you are exposing all the methods and other classes. Right. So here we cannot use public. And any other thing? Yeah. So any other question today? I think we have already 2 hours now. I would not like to start the array theory today. I thought I will at least cover up to multiple inheritance, but somehow it's not possible. Anyway, we will have three classes, 3 days, and this week. Today is 1 day. Most probably tomorrow it will be one, and one on Friday. Is that fine?
Yes, sir, no problem.
Okay. Only that if more people joins, it becomes more interesting and more interactive. But anyway, even if one Rehan or one only person joins, doesn't matter. I will continue. So, Anish, can you stop the recording now?